If you ask most people what they visualize when they hear the word drone, they're going to think of one of two things. The first might be a toy that you would buy for your kid at Best Buy. You know, a small little device that you could fly up in the air and has a cool camera on it. Maybe you can take some pictures. The second would be something scary like a Predator drone. A Predator drone are those basically flying jets that have no pilot that can drop armaments on people from thousands of miles away. Inspired flight is about neither of those things. What's happening right now in our world and in our country is a unique confluence of three really important factors. Number one, we have a geopolitical situation where the reliance of American industry on foreign suppliers is being challenged and questioned. In fact, today, the phone that you use, the car that you drive, the TV that you watch, or just about anything else, the refrigerator that you use to keep your food cold cannot be built without parts that come from thousands of miles away, most important electronic parts, and oftentimes, in almost every case, from China. Geopolitically, we know that's all about to change. The things we're going to talk about here that enable these devices, those strange looking things that are sitting on that table back there, the sad truth today, it is incredibly difficult to build these things without parts that come from China. Russia just invaded the Ukraine officially this morning. This is a European war starting right now in our time. At the same time, China has asserted that Taiwan is in fact part of China. Taiwan is where TSMC is located. They manufacture more than 90% of all the microprocessors in the world. This is a unique time in history. At the same time, on a much more positive note, the enabling technologies that allow a device like this to do things that would otherwise require, number one, putting a human being in a very dangerous place, like on top of a high voltage tower, or perhaps hanging off the end of a large wind turbine, or perhaps down in a mine, or on the front lines of a wild forest fire. Those things can now be done remotely through these devices. Next slide, please. I have a magic slide clicker. It's like this. It's in my finger. Okay. So what are we about here at Inspired Flight? Number one, we are San Luis Obispo based. We're down on Suburban Road. This is our principal headquarters. We're also going to be setting up an office in the Tech Triangle area around Denver, Fort Collins, and Boulder, Colorado. But we are San Luis Obispo based, and we are hiring right now. So tell your friends, okay? What we are doing is summarized up here. So what's happening is the technologies around this, and I'm going to explain these in a moment, are evolving very rapidly. So to be successful in this industry, you've got to be agile in your design, your manufacturing. A number of mistakes that have been made with other drone manufacturers is they're trying to basically reinvent the wheel around the enabling technologies. We're not going to do that. We're going to be more like a Dell computer of the drone industry. Second, the things that you can mount on the bottom of the drone, whether these are advanced thermal imaging cameras, inspection cameras that could find the cracks in a bolt from 50 feet away, or LiDAR mapping, terrain mapping that can map underneath the canopy of the forest. These things are evolving rapidly as well. And until recently, a lot of these things could only be mounted to a fixed wing aircraft, a large aircraft, or perhaps a helicopter that might consume thousands of gallons of fuel per day, but can now be put on something very light that's powered off of renewable energy. Medium and heavy lift is defining the upper end of this category of small unmanned aerial systems. That is an FAA requirement that says the entire vehicle cannot weigh more than 55 pounds. That makes it much easier to operate these from a regulatory point of view. Another thing that I learned at Mindbody is you want to succeed serving people that are doing mission critical jobs out in the wild, you need to provide an exceptional customer service, and it's a core part of our values at Inspired Flight. People always ask who are we selling to? Those are the target markets. Next slide, please. Okay, here's this strange looking thing. This is supposed to be animated. I'm gonna do this. This is supposed to be animated, and I was gonna take you through like, what is actually going on on those things that are sitting over there on that table back there. Let's start over here on the right-hand side. So first of all, obviously weight is extremely important. So making the underlying airframe very, very lightweight There's advanced technology in that around carbon fiber and aluminum parts. The lithium batteries, the same lithium battery technology that is enabling now these long-range automobiles that every major automobile manufacturer is now planning to either release or has already released onto the market, is causing rapid advancements in these lithium polymer advanced batteries. These things are miraculous. The amount of energy stored in a lithium battery is truly incredible. They're also super dangerous. In fact, they're approximately as dangerous as the same size device full of gasoline. And so they have to be managed extremely carefully. And so this advanced battery management system is a key part of the enabling technology. GPS, the fact that these things can position themselves with a device that is very lightweight, like the GPS that's sitting in your phone. A flight control computer and an autonomous flight control software. You don't fly these things manually with the sticks like the toys you might have played with in years past. You tell the drone where you want it to go, how high you want it to fly, and where you want to be in your destination. If you wanted to fly a pattern so that you can map a field or an area, you can program that in on a ground control station and it just goes and does the job very easily. I talked about the advanced payloads that are on the bottom. Again, these are evolving rapidly. We're not going to manufacture the payloads. We're going to manufacture the aircraft that carry the payloads and integrate those things with software and electronics. And the thing that is coming soon for us and is just absolutely at the cutting edge is object avoidance, object detection and avoidance. So if we took one of those drones out there and we said, take off from here and go to 75 feet and fly across Mitchell Park and go take a picture on the other side of the park, well, it could fly right through a field of trees. It could see the tree and go around the tree. That's obstacle avoidance. By the way, making these things is really, really hard, all right? And as a software guy, you're probably wondering why I haven't hit you up for money yet. And the reason is I'm not going to ask anybody I know for money for this business until we're confident we can do this at scale. And it's really quite difficult. In fact, there's only a handful of companies in the whole country attempting this. Next slide. But I will be hitting up your money for money at some point. We got one more. Okay. So here are some of the things that we can do. Right now, the U.S. Forestry Service is exploring using drones to light backfires for wildfire, both controlled burns in the wet season, when we have a wet season, okay? And also when the hot fire is burning, to be able to do pinpoint accuracy backfire setting. Imagine a fire burning up a large mountain, a wildfire out of control, and the firefighters are down on the other side of the mountain and they want to light a backfire to stop it. And we all understand how that works, right? The big fire is sucking all the air this way. And if you burn out the stuff in front of it, you can contain the fire. Well, if you did that the way it's being done right now, the firefighters have to light the backfires at the bottom of that hill. And so imagine now this backfire is burning up, and what it's doing now is getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's going up into the canopy of old growth forests. We are right now in our wildfire season, burning out and killing 1,000-year-old trees. This happened in all three of the last 3 fire seasons. It's going to certainly happen again. Well, with one of our drones, with that little hopper attached to it, you have aerial ignition balls that can be surgically lit up closer to the forefront of the fire where it'd be way too dangerous for firefighters or helicopters to go. Really exciting mission. We're one of 2 manufacturers in the whole country chosen by a company called Drone Amplified that has a U.S. Forest Service exclusive on this opportunity. Underground mapping. Imagine how dangerous it is to send human beings into a mine like that to map it out and figure out what its dimensions are 3-dimensionally. You can send a drone in there. By the way, there's no GPS underground. These things fly like bats underground. First responders, search and rescue. Being able to find somebody who's lost, being able to deliver something to somebody who's in deep trouble. Lots of really exciting opportunities there. This is just touching the surface of the opportunity. This is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. We are one of 11 firms in the country that was chosen under a program by the Department of Defense for Blue UAS. That is a program that says these are the unmanned aerial systems that we certify to first and foremost meet the National Defense Authorization Act requirement that says there's nothing on there from China that can send data back to China, because that's in fact what those little DJI toys that you bought for your kids are doing. DJI is the leading Chinese manufacturer. And secondly, that it meets the quality and reliability and safety standards for them. We're one of 11 in certification for that. On that list, there's only 2 other companies that are competing against us in the medium and heavy lift category, which is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity in the decade ahead. And so, last slide, please. This is what we're doing. This is about conserving resources. This is about saving lives. And this is about creating great jobs right here in the United States of America and in San Luis Obispo. Thank you, everybody.